So it seems as if Colin Kaepernick will receive a workout for all 32 NFL teams this weekend in the hopes of signing a contract. Will the Bengals be interested enough to sign him? Find out what I believe on this upcoming episode of New Stripe City. Welcome to New Stripe City, a YouTube channel for die-hard Bengals fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie. Please be sure to like this video, comment on this video, leave your thoughts, and also subscribe to the channel. If you're a die-hard Bengals fan, be sure to share this with all the other die-hard Bengals fans because we are growing this community and would like you to be a part of it. So let's talk about it, right? It's a touchy subject. We're going to talk about Colin Kaepernick, right? And so the thing that makes Bengals fans interested in this topic is because, number one, the Bengals are definitely going to be considering a quarterback, right? I don't think it's a secret that quarterback is definitely going to be a position that they look into, whether it's in the draft, whether it's from another vantage point. This news actually provides an intriguing option for the Bengals, whereas if they do end up with the number one pick, they could select, albeit Chase Young, instead of a quarterback if they were to sign a guy like Colin Kaepernick, right? But the reason why most people wonder if the Bengals will do anything is because it was reported in 2013. I believe it was 2012, that when the 49ers were in the Super Bowl, it came out that Mike Brown wanted to pick Colin Kaepernick over Andy Dalton in the draft and was talked out of it by Jay Gruden and possibly Marvin Lewis. So Mike Brown has always been a guy who was a Kaepernick fan, at least from a football standpoint. When it came to the draft in 2011, he wanted to pick Kaepernick. So that's where this interest comes from. Now, in my opinion, do I believe that Mike Brown would have some interest? I think he would have enough interest to at least send a scout out to see what kind of shape Kaepernick is in, because Mike Brown is a guy who's always looking for a deal. He's always looking for any kind of bargain that he can get out there on any guy. Now, you have to remember Colin Kaepernick did sign a pretty lengthy contract with the 49ers. They actually based Andy Dalton's contract off of Kaepernick's. So this is a guy that, at one point was deemed to be a decent NFL quarterback, pretty top tier. So Mike Brown's going to say, this is a guy that I could possibly sign for the cheap. I wouldn't have to pay that much, and he's a guy that I liked anyway. Why not try it? And I think that the Bengals definitely will consider it. The only reason why I feel like this may not happen is the Bengals decided, as you all know, in the past, to bring in Eric Reid for a visit. And there was a lot of drama that kind of coincided with that because it seemed as if the Bengals coaches did not have a problem with Eric Reid and his views, did not really question him about it. But once he got to Mike Brown, it seemed that Mike Brown questioned him about his stance with the national anthem. So I'm not going to get into that. We all know where that goes in terms of how people feel about it. But at the end of the day, Mike Brown didn't get the response that he wanted from Eric Reid. So you would have to think in a situation like this with Colin Kaepernick, Mike Brown's definitely going to be asking him this question. So from what I've heard about the Kaepernick workout with all 32 teams that will be there, it will be set up a little bit like the Combine, but there's also going to be an interview process as well. So if the Bengals do have a representative, I'm sure they'll be there to ask some of those questions that Mike Brown would potentially ask Kaepernick, right? So that's possibly one of the reasons where I'm not sure if Mike Brown would do that. But another thing that makes me think Mike Brown might actually do this is, can it really get worse from a fan reaction standpoint? I don't think it can right now. Nobody's going to the games. Nobody's really showing up for the team. I don't think that this would be a move versus like other franchises right now that are actively in, the playoff hunt and actively in gauged with their fan base outside of maybe Chicago, that this would be that big of an issue for them to handle from that front. And then the other thing is they usually do not speak to the media that much anyway. So if this does happen, we're not going to hear about it or hear Mike Brown talk about it until potentially early next offseason. So that also makes it kind of in a weird way possible for the Bengals to kind of pull this off if it is something that they're interested in. So I'm not sure which way that they would go. I think that they will have interest. I think they will do their research, but only time will tell if the Bengals will sign Kaepernick. I think that they would have some interest, like I said. I don't know if they determined that age is a factor or what is a factor. There was also a report last year that was shot down, but we don't know how true it was, that some of the Bengals players actually preferred Colin Kaepernick to Andy Dalton. They actually wanted to sign Kaepernick and see what he could do with the offensive line and with the tools that they had, which I could see that. I mean, you're talking about a guy that played in a Greg Roman system that Lamar Jackson is obviously flourishing in right now, but he also had an arm, right? So imagine pairing that arm with the likes of a John Ross or AJ Green and some of these tools that are set up for him. It would really be something that's interesting. And then the other thing is, right, you don't have any fans in the stands right now. What would be a way to get fans in the stands at Paul Brown Stadium? I think if you sign Colin Kaepernick, a lot of those remaining games, people are actually going to show up. So that's a weird, funny twist that could actually happen, that could actually benefit the Bengals from a business standpoint in order to do it. They actually could be a team that could pull this off. So we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, right now, I'd probably say it's a 50-50 guess whether or not they'll sign Kaepernick or not. I think it's really one of those two options there, and we'll have to wait and see. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's keep it professional. We all know about the issue, but what are your thoughts? Would you sign Colin Kaepernick? Let me know in the comments, and as usual, I'll leave it with a who day, all day, every day, and especially on Sunday.